Hi everybody, Creative Katie, Karen Birchill here, and welcome to my studio. This is my happy place. 3 years ago, I started art journaling. I was drawn to mixed media and art journaling. And like many, kind of got frustrated watching the videos and not being able to create what was in my mind or what I saw on those YouTube channels. And then I came across a video about journaling by fives, and that changed everything. So here I am, 3 years later. I am going to revisit journaling by fives and hopefully bring that to you. Journaling by fives was developed, created by Shannon Green. And I'm so thankful to Shannon for this process. By doing the JB5, as it became known, I learned the main components of every art journal page: color, texture, visual or physical, pattern, theme, and finishing. I also learned that every page goes through that ugly phase, and that there's always something you can do to fix it. Shannon developed JB5 as a way for us to get out of our head, to turn off that left analytical, logical brain and turn on our right brain that deals with color, creativity, intuition, and imagination. In Shannon's Journaling by Fives, she has 5 prompts: paint and ink, collage, stamps, focal pointer words, pen and pencil. Each prompt you had 15 minutes to do on the 20 pages. Yes, that's right, less than a minute a page. The timer is what forces you to get out of your left brain and into your right side. You need to realize that the purpose of doing JB5, while we all want it to look good, the purpose is to experiment, to explore, to learn and understand the process. You are only going to get better in your art journaling or mixed media pieces if you are doing the work. And this gets you doing the work. And there's a lot of troubleshooting along the way because you're not overthinking everything. So sometimes it's less than perfect. So you have to do some figuring. And that often ends with some very positive results. Now, after doing all 5 prompts, Shannon had free play, where you would do finishing, where you could go back and add whatever you liked to finish the page. And I admit that I ended up on a couple pages applying a coat of gesso to most of the page, and that's all right too. I'm going to flip through my first journaling by 5 that I did. So it was easy to pick. The colors represented water, relaxation, the pictures, so it was able to focus. When I did this process, I really didn't have a good understanding of all the parts of art journaling, nor did I have a lot of supplies. But I used what I had, and as I went through it, I learned a lot. It greatly affected my real art journal pages. I'm just giggling at some of this. Interestingly enough, we did move to Vancouver Island, and I can, or I could, before they built the houses across the street, could see the ocean. This is the second attempt of journaling by fives, and this one I did journaling by fives with a buddy. My friend Yvonne and I switched each step, so you had a certain amount of unknown coming because someone was making half of the decisions for you, and you had very little control, so you're giving up a little bit more control. As you know, hopefully you can see, even in that short period of time, I began to figure out how to create better pages, pages that were more cohesive. But only by going through the first attempt was I able to get to here, where I understood the process better and was able to do things better. I love this page. So my advice to you is, as it says on this art journal page, focus on the journey, not the destination. As I said, the goal here is not to create great art. Definitely we want it to look good. The goal is to learn and improve as an artist. Get the experience of creating 20 different pages and grow in your art. I love the quote, sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. And I apply that to many of my art journal or mixed media pieces. In fact, some of the pieces that have given me the biggest challenges are also the ones that I learned the most, and also the ones that I ended up doing a great job. Remember, you don't have to share this with anyone. This is about your individual journey. So why am I doing art journaling or journaling by fives right now? I believe it is an absolutely wonderful process. And I'm curious what benefits it has for someone who has been art journaling and doing mixed media for a while. I definitely can benefit from times of getting out of my head. And I'm hoping to explore some challenges that are forced upon me because of the time element. In other words, I just want to continue to grow in my art and learn. But I'm also encouraging others to do journaling by fives, whether you do it exactly as Shannon has put out, or whether you change it and go along with the way that I'm going to suggest, or do your own thing. I think so highly of this process that I want to revive it. I want others, the new generation of art journalers that missed that first swell of JB5 videos, to have that experience, to develop those creationships, to share your pictures, your videos, develop those creationships. So I'm hoping others will watch my videos and decide to do journaling by fives. Now, my advice to you is to limit the size of your pages. These pages I cut from a mixed media page, and I used that. This time around, I'm using pages from this journal, which you can just, as you can see, you can just take them out and do your work on them. I like these pages. They have lines on the back, and when I started art journaling on these way back when, I would write here what I did and my thoughts about what I liked and what I didn't like, and I found that very helpful. Whether I do that with the JB5 or not, I don't know, but it's an option. Now, this is not, you know, it's fairly thick paper, but I put a coat of white gesso on the pages before I sit down. The gesso will help deal with the wet mediums that you're going to be putting on it. It will help make the paint go smoother. I always put gesso on my pages. I would say 99% of the time. These pages that I have here are 10 by 6.5 or 25 centimeters by 16 centimeters. I wouldn't go bigger than 8 by 10. I like the loose pages instead of doing it in a composition book like Shannon did, because I don't like the idea of having to glue pages together, and I like being able to finish a page, deal with it, and put it off to the side, bring the next page here. But you definitely can use a composition book, as Shannon talks. You can use an altered book that you have as well. An old diary, an old day planner, what have you. And I'm you know, thinking of this quote, I'm walking my own path. Your approval is not needed. You need to make the JB5 process work for you. I'm going to change the prompts or the order of the prompts, and you're going to see that. I'm also, you know, going to allow myself to, you know, change the book if that suits me. Put you having loose pages. Also, if 20 pages seems too daunting, too overwhelming, do 10 or do 5 and then adjust the time accordingly. Picking a theme like my first time doing JB5 works really well. It helps to focus when you're collecting materials, choosing colors. You're going to have to search for magazine pictures, words, stamp out some of your stamps to have them ready, create your own tissue paper with your stamps, and I'll put a link to the video where I show how to do that. Kind of spend some time and think about the steps and figure out what you're going to use. Before each step, get out the supplies that you needed. Picking a theme or focus helps to limit your choices, because that's really important. You need to edit yourself. You aren't going to use all 24 colors. There's simply not going to be time, nor do we have the space for it. So pick 5 colors and use them. Or here's an idea, split the time between 2 choices. Do 10 pages with paint, 10 pages with sprays. Or 10 pages with stencils, 10 pages with stamps. Set out 4 colors, stop the timer halfway through, set out another 4 colors and do that. Some people have indicated that they like the idea of the JB5, but the whole timing thing really unnerves them and overwhelms them. So here are some ways that you can deal with that in making it work for you. Again, realize the purpose of JB5. Establish appropriate expectations for the finished product. We all want to end up with pages that look good, but perfect art isn't the goal here. The goal is to get the experience of creating 20 different pages and growing your art. I recommend that you still use a timer, as that rush helps you to engage that right side of your brain and turn off that left analytical brain. But tell yourself that you can finish the pages if you don't get done. I've done that. An incomplete page in my mind doesn't help creativity and feels like failure. Don't give yourself hours and hours. The idea is to do it quickly. But rest assured, no JB5 police are going to show up at your door. One thing that I did when stenciling and stamping, when Shannon's step 3, I set the timer for halfway and I stamped for half of the time, and then I took a bit of a break, put away all the stamps, got out my stencil stuff, and then did the other half. Whether you change the materials or not, allowing yourself a break in the middle might be all you need to keep yourself going. Here's Creative Katie, and I'm revisiting and revamping Journaling by Fives. And again, I applaud Shannon Green coming up with this process, and I'm so thankful to her. Me revamping it is not to slight her in any way, but it is to bring another way to people. And I've come to these steps and these stages because this is the way that seems to make more sense to me. It represents more closely what I do in my art journaling. And it addresses some of the things that I didn't understand and caused me some questions when I did it the first times. So Shannon's step 1 was paint. You applied paint or ink. You're adding color. For mine, I'm using collage. Now with the collage, I'm giving 3 things to my page: texture, pattern, and color. Now depending what happens in future steps, some of the texture and pattern and even some of the color is going to be pushed back, but it doesn't have to be. Collage is something that I am really focusing on doing, and I've noticed that Marta, Marry Small Art, and others often use collage as the first step. So that's why I'm putting collage there. I've separated stamps and stencils because I think both are really important. With the stamps, you are adding pattern to the page and visual and some layers. Stencils is next. With the stencils, you're adding pattern, but I really like using my modeling paste or wall compound you can use through a stencil. And there simply isn't time to do both of those. There's so much with inks and to get out paints and to stencil, it's very time consuming. And to get the effect that you may want, I think that's why I've separated those. When I did following Shannon's, I split the time between them, and that worked much better the second time around. Number 4 is when I'm going to add paint or ink, the color, whatever color medium that I want to use. And I'm hoping by putting that down here that I might be able to incorporate more white space. And the last one is the theme, where I'm going to put an image or words. And more than likely, I'm going to put an image on there. I find that once the image is there, I like to Google the word or find a quote that works with that image. It's just the way I like to work. But some people, you can put words and then later on add the image. And then you have finishing, where you take that page and you make it work all together. You're adding details. And this is a really important step. Finishing your page takes it from okay to wow. So I hope you will join me in revisiting JB5 or visiting it for the first time. Whether you do and follow the prompts that I am suggesting, or whether you follow it as Shannon has indicated 3 years ago, or doing your own thing. Please, if you're not a member of my Facebook group, Mixed Media Creations, please join. And then you can be there to see what others are coming up with and to share your findings. Develop those creationships and learn from each other. I can't wait to see where this will lead. If you have any questions, you can message me. You can join my Facebook group and message me. I'm hoping I think I'm going to do journaling by 5s on Fridays. So every Friday I will post the next video, starting with collage. Bye for now.